Hi, and thank you for joining us here on Aesthetic TV. I'm Dr. Andrew Warden with my co-host, Stuart Brazel.
It's great to be here.
That's so nice to be back. We're here today to talk about a new breakthrough in anti-aging technology that can actually turn back the clock and reverse the signs of aging skin.
Well, I have to say that sounds pretty amazing. Dr. Warden, what is this technology?
Well, it's called Forever Young BBL. That's short for Broadband Light from Sciton. And to help explain what the Forever Young BBL can do, how it works, and what makes it so different, we've invited prominent dermatologist and researcher Dr. Patrick Bitter. Dr. Bitter is certified by the American Board of Dermatology and is a pioneer in the use of pulse light energy. He's a developer of the photofacial procedure and author of several groundbreaking papers on the use of pulse light for skin rejuvenation. Welcome to Aesthetic TV, Dr. Bitter.
Thank you very much for inviting me to talk about this exciting breakthrough in skin health.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. And our viewers are always interested in keeping up with the very latest developments in aesthetic medicine in order to look and feel their very best. Before we get into the details of the Forever Young BBL, can you explain a little bit about what BBL is?
That's a very interesting question, Stuart. The difference between BBL and laser is that a laser is a single color of light, and BBL is hundreds of colors of light. And if I may illustrate, from the handpiece that comes in contact with the skin, hundreds of colors of light are flashed at the same time. And that explains the results that we see with the photofacial procedure that are different from a laser, where the skin looks clearer, it looks brighter, it looks smoother, it looks healthier.
So the whole thing is that you're targeting different wavelengths of lesions of colors, correct?
That's exactly right. So a laser is able to really target specifically a very limited element in the skin, and hundreds of colors of light in BBL are able to treat multiple things at the same time.
I see. Well, that's right. Pulse light treatments have been around for years and are used to treat acne, rosacea, freckles, and age spots, among other things. They've also been used for facial rejuvenation, but I understand that today, Dr. Bitter has some news about two groundbreaking clinical studies he's just published in conjunction with Stanford University Dermatology Department that show some really incredible results. Can you tell us something about that interesting research?
Thank you. The first study, we looked at the gene expression in skin cells, and we designed the study, I and my coworkers at the dermatology department at Stanford University School of Medicine, to treat age skin, 70-year-old forearm skin. We did a series of 3 treatments and then removed a sample of skin from a treated area and untreated area. That was looked at Stanford and analyzed to see the differences in gene expression. We know that old skin cells and young skin cells express genes differently, and what we found in the study was very stunning.
So tell us about those results you found.
Well, Dr. Warden, we know that every skin cell has about 25,000 genes, and we looked at about over 2,000 of those. And we found that with the Forever Young BBL treated skin, over 1,000 genes were rejuvenated.
This is really cutting edge stuff, treating actually the genetic component to slow down or reverse that aging process.
This was the first study that has actually shown that you could take living cells in a human and be able to alter the gene expression and make them act like younger cells. And a study like this has never been done before.
Great stuff.
Yeah, and I know you also did a second study. Can you tell us more about that?
So in the second study, it was I designed that to answer the question, really, what happens when you get a number of treatments done over a period of years? There were some questions in the early days when we were using this type of technology. Maybe it would be a bad thing to get a lot of treatments. And so I had 15 subjects that had at least one photofacial treatment with BBL over at least an 8-year period of time, and it had no other kind of cosmetic surgery. And what we found in the study, when we had a panel of 500 experts, including dermatologists and plastic surgeons, evaluating the before and after photos, was the following. And if you look up here, you can see the data. At the very top, the blue bar that says 46 was the actual average age of the 15 subjects. The green bar at the top, 45, was the assessed age. That was the age that the 500 investigators or evaluators thought they looked at their before photos. The subjects aged on average 9 years. So in their after photos, they were average was 55 years of age. That's the blue bar at the very bottom. But the green bar above that is the assessed age. That's the age that the evaluators thought they were in their after photos. They thought they were 45. And all of us know that nature, when you go from age 45 to age 55, nature does not make us look younger. So what we have learned from this long-term study was that the Forever Young BBL treatment from Sciton is the closest that we have come to the fountain of youth for aging skin. And in my opinion, Forever Young BBL treatment is the best non-invasive treatment that somebody can do for their skin to slow down skin aging.
So you're telling us that you can show that you're actually making skin look younger? That's, I have to say, wow.
Well, Stuart, that's what we discovered in the study that we did with Forever Young BBL. It's very impressive.
And we have some photos that you brought to show those results, right?
Yes, I'd like to show you in the photos, and we can take a look at. So we know that with Sciton's BBL technology, you can take aged, sun-damaged skin and make it look dramatically better with no downtime.
That's dramatic.
Extremely dramatic.
Now, in the study, when we took, some of our subjects were younger, and our subject here is 38 years of age, and what you're looking at in the after photo is her 10.5 years older, with having done nothing more than about 3 Forever Young BBL treatments per year. And you can see that she's basically aged hardly at all. Now, what if you take somebody who's older than that? And this subject is 58 when she started her treatments, and the after photo, she's nearly 9 years older. She'll go from age 58 to 67 with nothing more than about 2 to 3 treatments for Forever Young BBL per year.
Impressive results, huh?
And
Extremely.
And women typically really find that this aging around the mouth, where they get the lines, the wrinkles, that cobbly texture to the skin and the chin and the upper lip. And you can see with a non-invasive, no downtime treatment, the Forever Young BBL, that that skin looks dramatically better 9.5 years later.
Yeah, both the discolorations and the fine lines are better following that treatment. And finally, the hands. The hands give it away.
Yeah, the hands tell age.
Yeah.
And you're very right at that. So, and I believe that Forever Young BBL is really the best way to be able to rejuvenate non-invasively skin. And one of the remarkable things about the treatment is that we can treat and get the same anti-aging delaying of skin aging anywhere on the body.
I have to say that seeing is really believing, and those are some truly fantastic examples of what Forever Young BBL can do. We were both kind of going, oh my goodness.
For sure, and I mean, I have to say those are really very impressive images, Dr. Bitter. What's the ideal patient to treat with this type of technology?
This is a good question. Pretty much anybody that begins to have visible aging changes in their skin or sun damage is a good candidate for a Forever Young BBL treatment. I think that for those people in their late 30s and early 40s, it makes so much sense now to start doing Forever Young BBL treatments. 1 to 2 to 3, 4 treatments a year. I think optimally 4 treatments a year is what will really delay aging the best.
So tell us a little, what's the best treatment technique when you're using Forever Young BBL?
This is a very important question. The results that a person will experience really depend on 3 important things. 1 is the optimal settings that the doctor will choose. 2 is doing enough passes. And this is one of the breakthroughs that Sciton's BBL technology affords us, is that it's so fast we're able to do multiple passes, and that gets better results. It makes the treatment more comfortable, and it makes it very safe. And the 3rd is doing enough treatments. Those 3 things will really determine the results that somebody will get.
And really for all skin types?
Good point. BBL technology is safe to be able to treat even dark skin types. It does take a certain level of expertise on the practitioner's part to know how to treat darker skin, but it is very safe to treat dark skin.
And in terms, you touched on it slightly, the discomfort when getting the treatment, how would you describe that?
Well, some people feel relatively little, and other people will feel like a hot flash or a snap. There's no discomfort that is persisting afterwards. So treatments are simple. They take about 15 minutes to do a face. There's essentially no downtime with that. It takes 2 to 3 minutes to treat a back of a hand. And I've trained about 5,000 doctors in the art of doing photofacial treatments over the last 10 years around the world. So there are a number of people well trained in knowing how to do Forever Young BBL treatments.
Well, that's so important. It's so important with any treatment or technology. that the physician treating the patient, like you said, knows how to properly choose the ideal settings and number of treatments for that patient's skin type, age, and condition.
This is very true.
And I'm sure our viewers would like to know more about the patient experience. So what can a patient expect when they come in and receive a treatment with Forever Young BBL?
Well, most people will say after treatment it was a lot easier than they kind of thought or anticipated it would be. But again, for a face, it takes about 15 minutes to do a treatment from start to finish. And afterwards, people can apply makeup, put sunblock on, and go about their usual activities.
I have to say, after hearing about these great results and seeing such impressive examples with Forever Young BBL, I'm convinced. So how do people at home find a physician in their area?
Well, the best way to find a physician who's trained in the art of doing the Forever Young BBL treatment is foreveryoungbbl.com and go to the physician locator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bitter, for joining us here to inform our viewers about what really looks like an amazing breakthrough in skin rejuvenation and anti-aging treatments.
Yes, thank you so much, Doctor, for showing us how Forever Young BBL can actually turn the clock on the aging process. And it's truly very impressive, and I'm sure all of our viewers are excited to hear about this new treatment option, as I have been super excited.
Well, it's been wonderful being invited to come and talk about what Sciton's BBL technology can do. Thank you very much.
And to all our viewers out there, we really appreciate you spending time with us. I'm Dr. Andrew Warden.
And I'm Stuart Brazel. Until next time, stay tuned
and stay beautiful.
All right. Hey, everybody. This is Carrie again. And we are going to try something a little bit different. We'll see if it works. You know, in distance learning, I think we've all learned how to be flexible and nimble. Well, right now, Patrick is experiencing what I think we all hope we would not experience, which is his internet is out. Yikes. So we're going to try something real quick. I have him connected, and we are going to look at just first, Patrick, if you can introduce yourself a little bit and speak to just Sciton and what, I guess, what you do, and a little bit more about the BBLs and different lasers that you have.
You bet. Thank you very much for having me, Carrie. Can everybody hear me? Good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Carrie? Okay, excellent. So, hey, thanks for having me again in this weird old lockdown time. As Carrie said, I'm holding up at home as well and having some internet issues. So let's just kind of mumble through this and see if we can make it work for you. So again, my name is Patrick Naughton. I work for a company called Sciton. That's Sciton, which stands for the Science of Photons. We make all kinds of medical aesthetic lasers. Been in the business for 24 years as a company, and our lasers do everything from removing fat to removing wrinkles and age spots, and taking care of vascularity, endovenous ablation, and then some female health stuff. I understand you guys just got finished watching the video on broadband light with Dr. Patrick Bitter, and BBL itself is a modality within our company, one of the 15. And it addresses all kinds of issues that you've just seen. So BBL will address any kind of color in your skin that you want to get rid of, meaning sun damage, or what we like to just call freckles in day-to-day life. It'll get rid of vascularity, so anything that's red. It'll get rid of bruising, and it'll also do some hair removal. And that's done by flashing that visible spectrum of light on the skin, and then we create a target for what you want to get rid of. So if you, after targeting browns, we will filter that light so that it'll only see that brown and do the controlled damage that it needs to do to then get rid of that brown spot or age spot.
Patrick, that was amazing in that video where you could see such a dramatic difference. And I wanted to let people, there was actually a couple of questions that people had. And I just wanted to point out what literally reducing age difference by 9 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, so what that study was done that Dr. Bitter talked about, they took all the patients in the study, they all got the same treatment over a 9-year period of time. They basically got 3 complete Forever Young BBL treatments, which is a certain protocol that we now use because of this study. And they all got had landmark pictures taken on day 1 and had actually had biopsies taken from their skin so they can generate some of those RNA expressions that he was talking about. And they had 3 a year for that 9-year period. And then after 9 years, they looked at the before and after pictures taken on day 1 and after 9 years, and then sent those pictures out to 500 KOLs in our industry, all plastic surgeons and dermatologists, and asked them all to guess their median age.
Wow.
And what they found was 100% of them were guessed wrong, and they're actually looking younger, obviously, from the skin pictures.
That was amazing. I mean, even just seeing the sunspots, freckles, everything, was just almost disappeared. One question we had earlier was, now this is just reversing the look of your skin, but does it help is it beneficial medically at all?
Absolutely. So you're creating healthier tissue. We're doing some studies now where you're potentially getting rid of future cancerous growths that can happen from a lot of that pigmented melanin that gets stuck together. But absolutely, it does address from a medical standpoint healthier skin, which then just, when your skin's healthier, it looks more vibrant, you reflect more light, and has less issues.
Oh my gosh, totally. One question we have from a student is, do you need a medical degree to perform this service?
So that would depend on which state you live in. Mm-hmm. Illinois and Wisconsin is a little bit of like the Wild West in the laser industry. Mm-hmm. You would need to be trained and certified on the device that you have. But in Illinois and Wisconsin, you do not have to have any specific medical degree to operate, BBL or really any laser. Other states are more stringent. Some of them you have to be an MD, I should say. Some of them have to be a nurse practitioner, but Illinois, Wisconsin, most of the Midwestern states, anybody can perform.
It's a little incredible that we're able to do that. But
with that said, it takes some expertise and some learning and some know how to do it. But absolutely, anybody can do it.
Awesome. One other question we have is, what is the cost for treatments? We were saying that they did up to 3. So for, I would say, either a Medi-Spa environment that might have a Sciton machine, what is the average, cost of this service that people are
sure
investing in?
Cost will vary depending on where you're located. If you're in bigger cities as opposed to rural areas, or costs will also vary depending upon body parts that you're treating. If you're treating hands, it's going to be less than if you're treating, a face. Majority of our business is on the face, and what you're going to see is normally packages of 3 being sold for anywhere probably from $900 to $1,400 for the package of 3. So $300 to $500 per treatment.
Wow.
On the face.
Okay, that's great.
In the laser space, treatment prices can get up to several $1,000s for treatments, depending on what you're doing.
Right.
Yep.
That's great. So what other, we watched that video. Are there any other machines or any other laser treatments that Sciton does?
So Sciton has several different types of lasers, BBL being one of them. We also have a laser called Halo. You might have seen or heard of Halo in the past. Halo is a more aggressive treatment where you're actually combining 2 different laser wavelengths at the same time that fire on your skin in a way that we call fractionated. And fractionated basically is kind of like aerating your lawn, where you're not treating every piece of skin. You're leaving some pockets of rid of fine lines and wrinkles and pores, more of a texture thing where BBL is more geared towards color. We also make lasers that treat surgical scars. We make lasers that will do resurfacing, where plastic surgeons will use them in combination of doing surgeries. Maybe help them to tighten around eyes if they're doing blepharoplasty. We make a laser called Bbl that's used for female vaginal health. We make laser lipolysis lasers, endovenous ablation lasers, and then vascular lasers that get rid of spider veins.
Oh, wonderful. So with all the equipment, I think there's a lot, the people that are watching this video, a lot of them are students that are estheticians or cosmetologists that are looking or interested in maybe in the state of Wisconsin performing these types of treatments. A lot of them are curious about the level of training and what that entails. Can you give us a little information on how Sciton conducts training?
Sure. There's a lot of different ways you can get trained in the laser industry. Really, some of the best ones are the ones that are put on by the manufacturers themselves that are specific to their equipment. So when a client buys our device, we train with an in-house team of nurses that train on site, and it goes through a pretty in-depth didactic course in safety, laser physics, laser tissue interaction, and then we dive into doing hands-on training with every type of issue that you want to sell, whether it's skin rejuvenation or vascularity or what have you. And then from there, we run a lot of online learning capabilities, a lot of archived webinars. We do return trainings. Our reps in the field do a lot of training. This is probably a lot like, you guys could liken it to cutting hair, where from day one you can cut hair, but 5 years later you're just way better at it. It's no different than laser business as well.
Okay, that's cool. How long are most trainings? Are they, a couple weeks? Are they, a matter of hours? Hopefully a little bit more than 2 hours.
Usually about 2 days. You're doing some homework ahead of time, watching webinars, and diving into some online assets to get you going. And then our team is on site for 2 days. Typically, our reps will come back in about 3 weeks later and help kind of drive that race car a little faster.
All right. So, Pat, is there contraindications why someone wouldn't get like a BBL treatment or have a laser treatment?
Absolutely. Good question. So contraindications in the laser world are pretty consistent. That would be you cannot be on any photosensitive drugs. Those usually involve acne meds, antibiotics, things like that. If you're prone to cold sores or herpes, you shouldn't have a laser treatment. People who are prone to seizures induced by light shouldn't have a laser treatment. Pacemakers are a no-no. Pregnancy, there's studies are that nothing will happen, but it's pretty common in our industry to not treat a pregnant lady. And then certain lasers are, we've got a scale of skin types called the Fitzpatrick scale. I'm not sure if you guys have all learned about that yet.
Yeah.
It's basically a number 1 through 6, 6 being the darkest of skin. A lot of lasers might only be able to treat skin types 1, 2, or 3. And then, skin types 4, 5, and 6 would be a contraindication. BBL, you can treat all skin types. So in a nutshell, those are your kind of contraindications.
That's so great. I mean, I think that's one thing with diversity and making sure that, what treatments can and really help all skin types. I love that BBL is one of those. With, one thing is that this is a big investment, obviously. And I think it is important to understand that investment for, our salon owners or even our, students who think about, equipment and how much it costs. What is the upkeep and what does that financial investment look like?
So that financial investment really kind of depends upon, what you're buying and how many different modalities, let's say, that laser has. We're in the BBL is in the IPL space, which stands for intense pulse light. There are many, many, many manufacturers of IPLs. A lot like, let's say, the iPhone series, you can still buy an IPL that would be like an iPhone 1, and that one might be, $20,000, and the iPhone 10 is $100,000. So really, I mean, in the laser world, you're looking at tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars for lasers. They're always financed. You're usually looking at, a breakdown. If you look at return on investment of equipment, you always look at, how many treatments do I have to do to make that monthly laser payment? And once you break it down to that point, it's usually pretty minimal. If you do, 5 or 8 treatments in a month, you're literally making a laser payment, which normally our clients are doing that many in a day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I think sometimes our, students and guests, understanding why that price might be higher than other, services, an esthetician or a med spa might offer. I think it's always important to understand that.
Yeah, there's a big investment from on the front side, and you're competing in the laser. If you're doing laser treatments, you're competing against people down the street that are also doing that. So, on the flip side of that, if you have inferior equipment, getting inferior results or unsafe results, more often than not, you're going to lose to the guy with the better equipment. So
totally,
there's a lot that goes into the purchasing of it.
Well, Pat, I have a couple more questions here. There's some really good ones here.
Yeah, no problem. I've got a few more minutes. No problem at all.
Wonderful. Okay, so one of the questions that we have is, are there any risks? Is there a risk to doing this? Or I know we said contraindications, but what if I'm just nervous? Maybe I don't have a contraindication, but is there a risk to doing lasers at all? Is it painful? What does it feel like? Is there downtime?
Sure. Excellent. Good question. Again, it would depend upon the type of laser and the type of treatment that you are doing. So let's look at BBL. BBL itself has a lot of built-in safety components in the machine and in the software that keep the practitioner from getting into any kind of trouble during the treatment. And what is that trouble? That trouble really can result in a burn on the skin. So if you're treating at the wrong parameters or the wrong power level, or maybe have an inferior device, that would be your worst case scenario. You could create a burn in the skin. BBL, what does it feel like? It feels kind of a hot flash on the skin. Some people liken it to a very small rubber band snap. The treatment itself takes about 15 to 20 minutes on the face. And when you get up from the treatment, you might be a little red. Some people might be a tad puffy if you have histamine reaction issues. You really no downtime. You can go right back into makeup. You can go right back into your regular skin protocol, except for retinols. You really need to stay off those for about a week.
Okay.
And then as laser treatments get more aggressive, let's say like our halo treatment, it's potential you could get swollen for a day. Those are a little bit more uncomfortable, or maybe for 12 hours post, you're not feeling so great in that area. It feels like a really nasty sunburn or something like that. But most of that dissipates pretty quickly. But with BBL, really no downtime and not an overly uncomfortable treatment.
Oh, that's good. So I think what I heard was, depending on, the intensity of the laser and how it's being used and who is being used, you really don't have a ton of downtime unless you start to get into like the Halo series. Okay.
Unless you get into Halo or you're doing some plastic surgery kind of thing where you're actually removing some tissue.
Exactly. Is there any additional aftercare? I mean, you said you could put makeup on after, what did you say, a couple hours? Is that correct?
So yeah, this would depend on the modality.
Okay.
With BBL, you can be back into makeup as soon as your skin feels just calmed down. It might be an hour or two.
Okay.
as far as aftercare goes, your skincare regimen is pretty important. And I would stick to medical grade skincare that was recommended by the esthetician. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So the combination of the two are very important. Not only just the laser treatment, but then the maintenance part. Number one thing you can do is moisturize and sunscreen.
Right. Use that SPF. I think it's the one thing that people forget the most of.
Number one thing that can keep you from looking old.
Okay.
If you did nothing else.
Nothing else, a little SPF, right?
If you only did one thing, it'd be SPF.
Okay, another question we have is, and you kind of hinted on this a little bit, but I just want to dive a little bit deeper on it, is, we said a little bit that for noticeable difference, you said about 3 treatments, right? But then the one thing I was saying is that depending on skin and what you're trying to achieve with, like, let's say BBL, how different can one person's regimen or treatment schedule be versus another person? Is it 3 tries and everyone has the same results? Or is it, someone might need to go 4 or 5?
Okay, so, another great question. So, this has to do with, managing expectations versus results versus kind of what you're seeing on the person's skin. As you can imagine, everybody's skin is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's skin probably reacts differently to, light-based devices interacting with their skin. So when we say, we recommend 3 treatments, that's because that's the average across the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Someone might be super happy after 1 treatment. Someone might say, you know what, I need another one. I want to take this to the next level. So a lot of it is your own personal expectations and what you're trying to accomplish. So, for instance, one of the photos that Dr. Bitter showed on that video was of a lighter skinned gal that had a face full of what we'll call freckles, Lantinginese, and then the after picture that was basically all clean. So if that were a 3-treatment process on that picture, the first pre-treatment probably got rid of 60 or 70% of all of those spots on her face. Some people may say, you know what, I'm really happy with this. I look great. But then to get the rest of it might take a couple more treatments. So it's really kind of a matter of everybody's different and what are your expectations.
Totally. Okay, that makes sense. So a couple of the other questions, and I think this is because, and this might be referring to like halo and maybe more the aggressive type of treatments, is there scabbing or should we experience any sloughing or of any, the skin?
So BBL, what happens is, and again, we're talking about browns here, so getting rid of those Lantinginese, those freckles. What will happen in that process? So the light is attracted to that color.
Mm-hmm.
It absorbs those Lantinginese absorb the color. They actually turn darker and look worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is going to navigate itself either outward out of your skin or your lymphatic system breaks it up and washes it away. So there will be a period of time, going back to that picture on Dr. Bitter's video there, that gal after that first treatment for probably a week, it probably looked like she had coffee grounds on her face. And those can be covered up with makeup. Maybe a little bit of a texture if you touched it. No swelling. But yeah, that's going to slough off more often probably in the shower or on your pillow. More aggressive treatments like halo, they're not necessarily scabs. We call them MENS, which is an acronym for microscopic epidermal necrotic debris. And that's similar. The target of what you're trying to get rid of is trying to migrate itself either inward or outward. It's going to present itself visually for sure. But not scabs. You're not going to be bleeding, so there's no blood drawn, so no scab.
Great. No, I think that's realistic. That is a realistic expectation that your skin is going through a transformative process. So that's great. So one other question I have is, for someone that is newer to the Medi-Spa world, when we're looking at, you know, when we're looking at opportunities to gain an understanding, is there something is there training only through the salon, or could we go to Sciton, independently? Or what would you recommend?
For someone that doesn't have a job yet?
No, for someone that is looking to gain more experience.
Sure. There's tons of opportunities online, if you look at the manufacturers of a lot of the light-based devices, they're all going to have their own YouTube channel, their own Vimeo channel, but also a ton of assets on their website. So, Sciton, for instance, if you went to Sciton.com, we're going to have an archive webinar series where you can, dive in for 45 minutes and look at something specific. For instance, like Dr. Bitter talking about how he uses BBL to get rid of acne. We've got webinars based on, doing resurfacing on the face. We've got vascular webinars. So there's a lot of learning opportunities available to you if you just kind of dig in online. There are independent companies out there that do laser training that won't train specifically on a specific device, but do it at a more broad-based capability.
Of course.
So there are quite a few opportunities out there, and Sciton has quite a few as well.
Wonderful. I'm just going to go through this list, make sure that we've hit all of the questions. One last one is just more about machine maintenance. Is there, when we take an investment in laser machines, what kind of maintenance is involved in ensuring that your machine is in, the best condition, sanitation, things like that?
Sure. That's going to, again, probably be specific from, different from manufacturer to manufacturer. Our machine is maintenance free as far as, calibrating and making sure it's working properly on a day-to-day basis. We have modems built into our machine that spit out data to us that will allow us to know whether there's a potential issue coming down the pipeline in the future, whether it's a flash lamp, which is like a light bulb that's wearing out. We can get on those kind of things before they become an issue. The practitioner's job with our machine is to keep it clean,
right?
Keep it sterilized, get it wiped down with alcohol. No other maintenance on our device is really necessary. Keep it clean, keep it dust free. Maybe once a year you need to add some distilled water, which is used in the cooling system. But our machine is fairly maintenance free.
Well, that kind of goes into a second question I have. There are specifics usually for the kinds of rooms that these treatments are in. Could you talk a little bit more of what does that actual service room look like?
So, a lot of times these service rooms are used for multiple things within the spa. It could be, the esthetician's regular room that they're also doing facials in. A lot of times the devices will require specific types of power. So, our device requires 220 volt power, which is, more powerful than your average wall outlet. Enough power that's going to be used for dryers in your house. You're not supposed to have any exterior windows that are not covered up. So you have to have blinds and exterior windows, no mirrors in the room. If you're doing a lot of, let's say, hair removal, you might want to have a decent little ventilation system. Other than that, it's no different than any other med spa room, other than taking some precautions for safety, like a mirror and window thing.
Yeah, totally. I think that that's something people don't think about, is even just the space itself to have the service. One last question that came in is, are there any preparations that a guest should be doing before their treatment?
Sure. The cleaner the skin is, the better shape that the skin is prior to laser treatment, the better result you're going to have. Making sure that you're exfoliated, making sure that you've done a good job taking care of your skin A lot of times, if you can calm down the melanocytes in your skin via using, retinol, hydroquinone mixture for a period of time ahead of time, that'll give you a better result. No sun damage prior to a treatment, so you can't come back from Mexico and get a laser treatment right away. And then saying post-treatment, you're going to be hypersensitive to the sun post-treatment for a couple of weeks. No sunburns. Other than that, coming in with clean, as healthy a skin as possible will enhance your result.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. All right. Well, Patrick, I just want to thank you so much for being so nimble and flexible, especially with the internet being out. I thank you, everyone that joined us today, and for your questions. They were awesome. I appreciate your time. We're looking forward to continuing our series, and you'll see you again at 2 o'clock for our hair series and 3 o'clock for our spa series. So enjoy the rest of your night. And once again, thank you, Patrick, for your time.
You're welcome. Have a great night.